Welcome to the Hot Rocket Sports Studios and another edition of the weekly video recap. The March 31st show kicked off with another unusual topic, golf. More And welcome to another edition of the Hot Rocket Sports Show, live from somewhere in beautiful United States of America after a great week in the history of this country. I want to say thanks to everybody tuning in tonight. It won't be a very long show, but I wanted to get on the air. Jeff, I haven't talked to Jeff much all week. I've been on a little bit of a vacation, but I want to do a little show tonight, and I do want to lean a little bit into the politics end of what's going on, and we'll do a little bit of football, some baseball, some music, and we'll call it a day. So we'll get right into the show a little bit, and thanks for all you guys tuning in. And I want to say congratulations to all of you out there who voted for DJT round 2. Let's get the show started. I want to bring Jeff on. I want to talk a little bit of politics, and I want to talk a little bit Jets and Giants. We'll do a little music, and in the meantime, we'll see what you guys are up to. So hopefully somebody's out there watching us. In the meantime, let's bring on my buddy, Mr. Jeff Tomlinski. What's up, Hefe?
What's up, man? What are you doing?
Just sitting outside, my man, enjoying a little bit of the Florida life.
You better be careful out there, man. There may be some lizard stalking you.
Oh, don't laugh. My son this morning, last night. Yesterday morning, my son was getting dressed. He had his stuff laying around, and there was a little baby gecko running around in the house.
In the house?
Yes. Yeah, they I guess climb up the buildings and they find their ways in, and we found a little baby gecko running around in the house. So we captured it, and he got tossed off the 7th floor balcony. So
did he float gently down, or?
I didn't see him pull the ripcord on the chute, Jeff. I'm not sure. So I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how he landed. I don't know if he landed feet first, tail first. I'm not really sure. One can only hope.
From the 7th floor, I really don't think it really matters much.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the chute there. I didn't see the chute open, so I'm pretty sure we had a malfunction.
Even if he just took a jump from the 7th floor, they're little, so I'm sure that when he hit, it probably wasn't as bad for him as it would be for us.
Correct.
I'm sure that massive internal injuries played a role a few hours later.
I'm sure. So, but no, otherwise, not much in the way of indigenous critters running around. So thank goodness.
That's a good thing.
So just sitting out on the lanai, as they call it. Just had some dinner with the parents and a couple of shots, and now I'm sitting there talking to you. So Jeff, let's do what we always do. How was your week?
It was a pretty non-eventful week, but the dog got her staples out, so she's now doing a lot better and running all over the place. Yeah, she's over there in her usual Thursday night spot.
Nice. She adapting to her new. Is she adapting well to her new circumstances?
Yes, very
good.
Very.
That's good. Yeah, that is. I have to tell you, that is probably the toughest dog I've ever heard of.
Yeah,
every challenge you guys throw at her, she just kind of deals with it.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I wouldn't want to bet against her. That's for sure.
You know what? I couldn't handle what she's going through. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I hear you. And here's hoping that we have several more years of her. That would be really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So, But before we get into a little bit of football and everything else, we do have to talk about the big news of the week, and that was not only the reemergence and the reelection of Donald Trump, but the pounding. Jeff, I think the message. I know you're not the biggest Donald Trump fan in the whole world, but I think based on the beating, the amount of votes he got, the clear message was sent to the people who don't necessarily think like you and I do, that we don't want to deal with no more woke. We don't want to deal with illegal immigration. We don't want to deal with that. Were you surprised by the outcome of the election?
I wouldn't have been surprised either way, Tom, to be honest with you. For a while, I thought that it was hers to lose, and then, it just didn't know which way it was going to go. And I really didn't watch much of it on election night. My wife did. But I was like leading up to it. I was like, this woman's going to win, because I just felt as though that she had more people. Hey, how you doing, Robert? I think she had more people pushing for her, it seemed. And it just seemed like she had a bigger push going into the election.
Well, here's why. It's because the Democrats and the liberal media control the liberal media. And the media played her up to be this, tremendous politician who was going to save the country from herself, obviously. And the people, I was surprised. I was hoping he would win. I thought he might. That more people would be tired of what we're going through. I just didn't realize how resounding it would be. And I think it sent a clear message to the Democratic Party. And I watched till 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I couldn't get enough of it. To me, it's the Super Bowl, Stanley Cup, World Series all rolled into one. It's one night where, and it'll never, ever happen again. Like these circumstances will never, ever happen again. But it doesn't surprise me that they pushed so hard to get her elected. And when the country sent the message back, screw you, we don't want this anymore. To me, it was the best Christmas gift I could have ever gotten, because to me, it shows that the people of this country are not fooled by the bullshit.
I don't think they ever were, to be honest with you. I just think that there was the wrong people heading into this voting. And if they had gotten some more people on board, there was a lot of young people that seem to have voiced their opinions. I know one in particular that I used to be very close to. I haven't seen in a while. I think I know who you think I know who I'm talking about. Was on social media saying things that I was like kind of shocked at her position and stuff.
Really?
And, yeah.
You're right. I think that the young kids of this, and my son Chris was out here for a good part of the week, and we watched the election together. And I asked him the question, to people your age, and and the people the people you're listening to on these podcasts and all the social media, where are they going? And he said, Dad, they're all going Trump. He said most of these people don't want to hear the bullshit anymore. They don't want to hear about legal immigration and all that stuff. And he said, I will not be surprised if Trump wins pretty good tonight. In fact, he actually put a bet on it. So just for the record.
Yeah, we saw at dinner time that people were betting on the presidential election. But listen, for every person that thinks like your son, there are plenty of people that don't think like your son.
Well, not as many as we thought. I have to be honest with you. I thought he had a chance to win. I would have thought it would have been a very close election, and one that wasn't even decided on Tuesday night. And I was surprised how early in the night it was over. It was frightening. And again, like I said, for me, I was thrilled that I got to see so many people, and the fact that he won just about every demographic: young kids, black, white, Jewish. He just the Latinos. Everybody resounding. It wasn't even close. It said, and the more I listened to the Democratic people in the media, who basically said that the Democrats have to take a long look at themselves and realize that everyday Americans, when they can't afford to put food on the table or put gas in their car, don't want to pay for illegal immigrants. They don't want to pay for jailed illegal immigrant, transgender operations when they can't put food on the table. And this sent a big message to me across the country to the Democratic Party, and we'll see. But to me, the Republican Party has taken a huge step toward being, the party of the middle class.
Oh, listen, there's only 3 classes. So let's see what happens as time goes on. And I hope that a lot of people realize, because I don't think they do. And just because he made it in and he's in does not mean that certain things are going to happen overnight. And it might mean that certain things just aren't going to happen, period, because they can't happen. All right. And I was talking to a couple of people about this at work and outside of work. And the one thing that I don't see a lot of changes and hear me out. I don't see a lot of changes in certain things because, one, housing, okay, and the cost of houses.
Yep.
A couple of years ago, houses were about $500,000, $550,000. Now that same house is going up for $750,000, $800,000. The bank has lent a lot of money out to people to buy these houses.
Right.
And the banks are not going to let housing, all of a sudden the floor drop out of housing, because then they're going to be out so much money. It's going to be unbelievable. They may stop the rise of housing, and it may drop somewhat, but it's not going to be a drastic drop. You're not going to see $800,000 houses going for $450,000.
No, you're right. No, you're 100% right. I think what you're going to see over the next year or so is interest rates drop significantly again.
Yeah, I believe me. I got like 2.65, so I would love to see them drop down again so I could refinance my house, because I paid a lot towards my house in a couple of years that I've had it. So it would be great if I could refinance it and get a lower payment each month.
Sure.
But you got to remember something else too. Cars, the price of cars are out of this fucking.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Insane. Okay, food, everything else. But the bad part of all of this is that a lot of these companies, this is a profit for them.
Sure.
Then they're not going to want to drop the profit. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they're like, well, when the price of oil goes down, that means that delivery costs are going to go down and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. But the companies are making money.
Yes.
The companies are not going to want to turn around and say, well, we'll give up $10 million a year because gas went down. Once these people make money, it does not matter who the president was going to be. They're not.
But what you're hoping for is that, capitalism strikes. And what I mean by that is, the guy who's selling, let's keep it at food for now. So let's say the guy selling chicken at Stop and Shop says, I'm selling it for $5 a pound. But the guy at Walmart now says, well, he's doing it for at $5 a pound. I'm going to make it $4.50 a pound or $4.75 a pound. And then you hope that they have enough profit margin where they start battling each other for it. Do I think it's going to drop down where it was 4 years ago? No. What you hope for is that a little bit of that drops, and that your money in your pocket increases.
Oh, of course.
That's what you're hoping for.
Of course.
Yeah. So which the problem is, inflation grew so high that it went over what you were putting in your pocket. The extra money you were putting away became the money you needed to pay your bills. And do I think it's going to, we're going to see gas at $1.50 again or $1.80 again? Probably not. Can I see it regularly at $2.50? Probably. So there's a little bit of money in your pocket every week. So again, I don't think you're going to see tomorrow, all these prices drop, but all you can hope for is that they don't continue to skyrocket, and that capitalism holds, and we have the ability to say, I'm not buying for you, I'm going to buy for him because he's 10 cents cheaper, and then he drops it 20 cents, and then he drops it 40 cents.
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope that's the way it goes, of course. And I understand all of that, and you're 100% right. Yep. But I don't know about over there where you are, and especially down in Florida. What's up, Will?
Well,
but over here on the island,
yeah,
because a lot of the food stores have food chains have gone out of business. Like we don't have Pathmark anymore. We don't
Right.
have Wall Bombs. We don't have A&P. There's no competition really.
Yeah.
So, we go to a small store by our house, Mets, and it's a small store,
Right.
More of a superette than a supermarket.
Right.
But it does what we need to do, and it's expensive. We
Yeah.
go there and spend $50 on a bag of groceries that maybe 6 months ago would have been $35.
Yeah. No, I agree. Look,
Without competition, and hopefully it brings competition in, but without competition, there's nobody to start selling it at $4.50.
No, I agree. I think the problem has been, people have been shutting their business down because they can't keep up with the rise in prices, the inflation. So again, what he promised to deliver is what he already delivered once. Can he do it a second time? I bet on that he can. Will he?
I'm not.
Who knows?
I'm not saying that he can't do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he can't do it. I just feel as though that there's going to be, it's a completely different situation
that
you're in now at this point in time. And when these companies like this are making money, I don't think that they're going to be so quick as to give up money because,
Yep.
I just let's see what happens. He's not even in yet.
Yeah.
He don't start till January, and I know that he'll do things on the first day. Let's see what happens, and that's that.
Yep, I think it's going to be an interesting 4 years. Hopefully, it won't be the chaos of them. See, the one good thing if they can take advantage of it is they own the Senate and the Congress.
Yes.
So he should be able to get his cabinet picks in. He should be able to get his agenda in. The last time when he started, he had the same situation, but they went after the medical. They wanted to get rid of Obamacare, and they fought for a year, and they wasted a year of time, and they accomplished nothing. This time, they hopefully won't even get involved in it, and they'll just go out there and try to get immigration resolved, try to get drilling opened up a little bit, and just deregulation. And I like the fact that Elon Musk is going to be involved, and I'm hoping that Elon Musk is going to be involved in the sense of they're going to make him in charge of government efficiency. And Musk has already interviewed and said he thinks he can go in there and inside the first 2 years save $2 trillion, getting rid of all the government waste that he can find. And we'll see.
Let's see what happens. And here's hoping that Elon Musk stops looking so fucking strange and weird because
he's a strange looking character.
What?
He is a strange looking character.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Thank God he's the richest guy in the world because he'd have a hard time making a friend if he did.
Yeah. All of that money is, and a couple free cars here and there are going to get him plenty of friends. Don't worry about that, especially the lady friends.
Yes, but he's got 11 kids, a couple of wives. Like he's got a whole crazy story. But we'll see. Like I said, I was excited. I was really kind of down over the thought of the election going to her. But the best part of it is there's a few friends of ours who are big Democrats, and one in particular, and he's been nowhere to be seen since Tuesday.
Yeah, well, listen, he's an old thinker, I would say.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, and unfortunately, his party is in a different way where he is. I don't believe that he's as radical as some are.
No, I agree.
And,
no, he's not. But he still holds the party line. That's the problem.
Well, it's because it's what he came up with.
Yes, I agree.
It's like I remember when I came out of high school, my mother was like, "Yeah, you're a Democrat because the Democrats take care of the working people. The Republicans are for the rich, and they give tax breaks to the rich and everything else."
Right.
Things have changed.
True, dramatically. Yeah.
Whatever. But he's a little bit older and he's a little bit more entrenched in what's going on. But listen, I'm sure that there's bad people on the Republican side. I'm sure there's good people on the Democratic side.
Absolutely.
So you'd like to think that he's one of the good people and he's not as far along on the radical side as some are.
Nope, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. So, well, like you said, hopefully things calm down. We have less chaos, and we all go out there and get along, and we have 4 very good years, and we start on the path to a new existence. But the Hard Rocket Sports Show is the Hard Rocket Sports Show, and I want to talk a little bit about the Giants and a little bit about Daniel Jones. And while I don't think Daniel Jones has played terrible this year, I think it's time for the Giants to make a change. And my thought process is this, Jeff, and you tell me what you think. I don't see them bringing him back next year. There's the obvious thing, same thing that Russell Wilson went through. They have that if he gets hurt and he doesn't clear medical by March next year, he's on the books for like $40 million. As opposed, if they cut him, he's on the books for I think $20 million, and they could cut him and move on and save $20 million of their payroll. I almost think it's to the point now where you got to say the season's over. Why am I putting Daniel Jones out there as, and again, he's not to blame, but if from a business standpoint, I don't want to play Drew Lock. I put the kid Tommy Cutlets out there, let the fans have some fun, let him run around out there, and not put myself in a position where if Daniel Jones gets hurt, I'm stuck with another $40 million of his money next year.
Yeah, I could agree with that to an extent. Yeah, I also think we never really got to talk about this much because we just never did. I got to say, a lot of things, a lot of pieces of the Giants didn't have. They didn't have what they needed. Offensive line. Evan Neal, evidently, from what I read, looks like he's a total bust at this point in time.
Looks like it, yeah. Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Because they drafted him high, and believe me, nobody knows more about busts and everything than my team. But it is a shame. Yeah, I agree. Dable definitely needs to go. I just when he made the switch, what was in the first or second game, whatever it was, when he took Jones out.
Yep.
And it was like the beginning of the fourth quarter, and he was like, "Well, I'm doing this for a spark." Okay. There was no spark to be had. That team was flat that day. You couldn't have sparked them up if you doused them in gasoline and lit them on fire with a blowtorch. You weren't going to get a spark out of them. Yeah. Why not just say Daniel Jones wasn't playing good? We took him out. Yeah. He's number 1 quarterback right now at this point in time. We don't want our number 1 quarterback getting hurt. So I'm putting in the number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
My backup. I'm going to let him play for a while, let him get some reps. We could see what he does a little bit, and let's see what happens. Don't say that you're looking for a spark in a game that it's not going to happen. You're not going to change the outcome of the game in the fourth quarter. Not with some of the problems that team faces.
I agree, and Patrick, I agree with you and disagree. I think he's a better quarterback than Drew Lock is at this point. I would rather see Tommy DeVito out there than Drew Lock. I'm not telling you that I want Tommy DeVito to be my quarterback in the future. I don't even know if I want him to be the backup. All I'm saying is I don't want Daniel Jones out there getting hurt and then changing next year. Finelli, as far as Dable goes, I think Dable's a good coach. I think Dable thought that he could fix the issues. And guys, don't get me wrong. I don't think Daniel Jones has been terrible. I think they either lead the league or second in the league in drop passes. I think that Malik Nabers is a great player who's already made a handful of big mistakes, and his ego is getting a little too far ahead. The offensive line has been okay, and they've been running the ball really well. The defense has been bad. I don't think this is Daniel Jones' fault, and I think Daniel Jones will go someplace else and be a decent quarterback somewhere.
He's gonna go wherever he goes. He'll probably be a backup, but what? Maybe he goes to Cleveland.
Yeah. Again, I think he'll get an opportunity to start someplace else. The guy's got ability. He's a hard worker. He's not an embarrassment. I mean, if they can stick Deshaun Watson out there, and that guy's an embarrassment. Not only can he play, but he's just an embarrassment off the field. Daniel Jones will get another chance. I just think 6 years into his Giant career, if it ain't there, it ain't there. I disagree with getting rid of Dable. I can't do another 3 years with a coach and change. And I just think the guy's shown enough to me that he's a good football coach who needs to pick better players, and that's on him and Shane. And I can't bail on another set of guys again 3 years in. And to me, leave the coaching staff, change the players. That's why I see it, Jeff.
Well, listen, there's a lot of things that need to be done. I think that the loss of Barkley, the way it happened, not so much the loss of Barkley, the way it went down, I think it kind of shocked the team a little bit, to see him stay within the division. Yeah. And, now they watch him play. They play him twice a year and everything else. It's just a little bit too much for them. They couldn't shake that off. They watched Washington looks like the real deal.
Oh, yeah. Hard to argue that.
Philly definitely is a better team than the Giants. I don't think that they're going to contend for first place, but
no,
with Dallas dropping, the Giants had a chance. But I mean, there's just too many questions. Other than Neighbors, do they even have a quality on wide receiver 2 or number 3? Do they even have that?
Slayton's been a good receiver, but Slayton is at best a number 3. He's had to be their number 2, but Slayton's a 3. Wan'Dale Robinson has been shaky. Other than that, the best thing on the Giants has been this kid Tyrone Tracy, this rookie running back has been great. And the Giants have not really felt the loss of Saquon Barkley. Yes, Barkley's a great player. There's no doubt. Did you see that play he made this week where he jumped backwards?
I saw it.
That guy's a physical monster. There's no doubt about it. But I don't feel like the loss of Barkley has been the reason. Let's put it this way: they had the guy for 5 or 6 years, and then went to one playoff series with him, one playoff game. So while I would love to have had him, he wanted too much money, and the Eagles aren't going to win the Super Bowl, and they have him. So
man, all I'm going to say is that somebody just brought up a pretty valid point. And if Frank Catalano was here, he'd be all over this, man.
Yeah, again, I like Daniel Jones. I really rooted hard for him. I still say it's not his fault. I think he's got all the ability in the world. Whatever the reason, after 6 years here, it hasn't worked. I can't see next year being a different year. And if I'm the Giants, I got to shed some salary. I got to bring in a different quarterback, maybe a rookie. Now, I don't want them drafting Shedeur Sanders. If the Giants draft Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, I tell you what, I will not watch another Giant football game.
Well,
that's how badly I dislike them.
A lot of these teams think they're going to catch lightning in a bottle, and everybody has to, do what the guy before them did.
Yeah, I get it.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
No, I get it. But for me, I like Daniel Jones. I think he's got a lot of ability. He's shown he can be successful in this league. The problem is, after 6 years, I just can't go through another season, whatever the reason. Maybe it's the way he runs the team on the field. He's not picking up on the open receiver properly. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, I think it's time for a change. But no, I do not want to change the coach. I think Daboll's a good coach. I think Shane's done a decent job. They gambled on Daniel Jones after a good year, and they lost. Nothing you could do. Move on. And
that's the thing that gets me too. Okay, it's not just them. It's been a lot of different teams.
Sure.
Okay? Like,
hey, listen, tell me Dak Prescott's had a successful career.
Oh, his career is a lot more successful than Daniel Jones. You know what I mean? And I see a hand there. What is that?
That's a shot of tequila my wife's giving me.
Cheers, Jeff.
How are you, Edie?
I'm good. How are you?
All righty. Well, I just think that, yes, is Dak successful in the offseason? No, he's already proven that. Is he successful during the season? Yes. And you have to be successful during the season to get into the offseason. So he's not a bust.
No.
Also, to stick up for Daniel Jones, and I'm not a big Daniel Jones fan.
No.
The team has done nothing to boost it around him.
Yes.
It just made some bad picks.
Yeah, and I think it's just time to scrap it, get rid of Evan Neal, get rid of Daniel Jones, get rid of Darius Slayton, get yourself, build your team the right way, the way you wanted to build it, instead of kind of plugging holes, and let's build it the right way. Because I just don't feel like it's gotten to the point where, we can, I don't know, where it can be fixed with Daniel Jones in house. So I don't want to belabor it. I'm just saying that at this point, he's going to play this weekend in Germany. At some point, I want to pull the plug, go to Tommy DeVito. I don't want to see Drew Lock play. I want to see Tommy DeVito play, and then take it from there. That's the way I look at it. As the Rangers score 1-1 in the Ranger game, but we'll see. I have basically said I was ready to give up on the Giants season and build toward the future. In the meantime,
I don't have a problem watching, seeing DeVito become the quarterback for the New York Giants. But here's my problem with the young DeVito boy, Tommy DeVito.
Sure, go ahead.
Go out there and play. Don't make yourself a spectacle.
Okay.
You have a chance to do something. Leave this on the sideline or in the locker room. We don't need to see that. We know you're Italian. Your agent, I would turn around and say, do me a favor. Take that fucking hat off. Wear some normal fucking clothes.
Hey, hold on. Stay there 1 second. Keep going. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. And I myself would try to normalize and realize the chance that you have going forward and trying to establish an NFL career instead of becoming like a carnival act, like Robert said earlier, or Pat Cooper said earlier. I just don't see the point of it. If you're not going to take it seriously and you know that you're playing on a bad team and you just want to, make it seem like, here I am and, you want the limelight for a few minutes, I don't like it. Vinny Testaverde, Joseph, is having some issues. And Steve DeBerg, they can't find him. He went on the Amelia Earhart tour and he is gone. They don't know where he is. Testaverde, he doesn't know where he is either due to the Alzheimer's that he's suffering from.
But you know what? Joe Flacco got another job. Joe Flacco's starting in Indianapolis.
Yeah. But you know what?
39 years old.
Joe Flacco, I mean, let's face it, the guy's on borrowed time. You know this. You know this going in that he's on borrowed time.
Yeah.
A 40-year-old quarterback, okay, maybe he's getting by on brains, on smarts.
Sure.
It's not exactly the worst team in the world.
No.
Is he going to be there next year?
I would have said he wouldn't be back there this year.
What?
I would have said he wasn't coming back this year. Yeah, there he is, though.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
can you believe
these guys that probably got hit so many times and doesn't realize, like, we don't want you no more, and he just keeps showing up. So did
you read that the kid he replaced, the kid Anthony Richardson, the quarterback, took himself out of a game because he was too tired as quarterback? Could you believe that?
I don't understand it, Tom. I saw you guys talking about it back and forth.
Oh,
I don't understand it.
That might be the most embarrassing thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You basically,
and that's why Vinny Joe Flacco's playing.
Yeah, that's exactly why. You're right.
Not.
Yeah.
Listen, the NFL seems to be a very brutal fucking world. Okay, you can't be tired for one play. You got to get in there because chances are you're going to go 3 and out anyway. You're going to get your rest on the sidelines soon enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and even if you are tired, just go in there and suck it up and play.
Call timeout if you gotta. Tell the coach I need him. I can understand if you're the quarterback and you just ran 75 yards down the sideline, okay, and you say, "Coach, you better call timeout or hand the ball off because I need a breather." I gotta get it. To take yourself out of not take yourself out for a play, take yourself out of the game because you're too tired to continue. Boy, oh boy, I had to tell you.
Did he go back in?
No, I don't think he went back in.
Really?
Yeah. I hate to think where this league is going to be 5 or 10 years from now. Because we're getting further and further and further away from the guys who are warriors, the guys who run through the wall to get to make a tackle or make a catch or score a touchdown. And I think you're getting more and more and more. And I think it's again, it starts early, but even at the college level now, where these guys aren't amateur athletes and they're grinding to get to that money, they're already making it, and they don't even appreciate where they're at. So I hate to think where we are 5 or 10 years from now with football.
I'll tell you where we're going to be 5 or 10 years from now. It's already a money game.
Yes.
Okay. When you're watching the Super Bowl and they're talking about a player, regardless of his position,
Yeah.
well, let's say it's a defensive back. It seems to be defensive backs that fall into this category a lot during the Super Bowl. And it'll be like, well, he had a great year.
Yeah.
5 interceptions. He returned 2 for touchdowns. He led the league for defensive backs in fumble recoveries. He's 3rd in tackles overall in the league for defensive backs. He's 10th overall in the league for defensive players for tackles.
Yeah.
They give you all these stats and they say, but next year, he's not going to be on this team. He's on his last year. This will probably be his last contract. And, you know, the rumor has it, maybe he wants to go close to home and he's going to go play for Carolina. And you're like, Carolina? Why the fuck would anybody in their right mind want to go play for Carolina? Well, because they're going to offer him $28 million a year for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Or if he went to a contender, he may get $17 million a year. But that's not good enough for him. He wants the $28 million a year. And
right.
Okay, so you're acknowledging that you're a money player. You're looking to play money ball. You're not looking to play football because listen, I got to say it. Juan Soto, to me, we're gonna find out what kind of human being and what kind of player Juan Soto is to see what his plan's going to be. And a lot of these athletes want to go where the money is. They don't want to go and have their name etched on.
If Juan Soto takes $700 million to play for the Tampa Bay Rays, we know that it's all about the money.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yep, you're right, 100%.
You're not, and not to bring him up in this situation, but it's just the point. Like, here's the next big athlete that's going to make.
Oh yeah, no, that's perfect.
$1 billion he's going to make.
Yeah, perfect example, Jeff. No, you segued into a perfect example. You know, that's a guy who, if he did it right, would say, "I'll take $50 million left to go play for, you know, the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers. You know, a team that wants to win, as opposed to a team that never wins, because I want to get every single dollar I can." Kind of like Mike Trout. Mike Trout took a ton of money from the Angels, who never win, no matter who they have, to go out there instead of saying, "Hey, maybe I'll take a few dollars less and I'll go to a Yankees, I'll go to a Dodgers, I'll go to a Phillies, a team that, you know, generally wins but can't afford to pay me that kind of money."
But you know something? Mike Trout showed something.
Which is?
He was homegrown through the Angel system.
Yep.
And he didn't leave. He didn't leave. Yes, maybe I don't know all the ins and outs of his contracts and everything else, so I can't really comment on that. But if he was getting more money and he stayed with the Angels for more money, well, then you know what? Here's somebody that did not leave the team that brought him into the league.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And helped him up. He stayed with the home team.
That's a good point. You're right. I give you that. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Once again, if they called him and they said, "We're going to offer you $30 million a year," and then he goes to a team that's going to give him $38 million a year, then that's one thing. But I don't know what his contract was and how that was all negotiated. You know, I'm sure I could look it up one way or another. But you know, if he did what he had to do and stay with the team, then you know that's good for him.
No, listen. That is a good point. Again, Hot Rocket Sports, that's Jeff and I'm Tom, and we're every Thursday night and just trying to have a little bit of a conversation and talk a little sports, and you know we'll do it a little bit longer and see where it goes. But having some fun tonight. Thanks you guys for joining us. Big week in the conservative Republican world. If you were a fan of the 47th president, and we're just having some fun with that tonight. We'll talk a little sports. I want to move over to just real quick. I keep hearing people, Jeff, talk. I know you're not a big baseball fan. You're not much of a guy who pays attention to a lot of it. But you know, I keep hearing Yankee fans pining for Pete Alonso. They want Don't sign Soto. Bring in Pete Alonso. And again, I'll say this: nobody should overpay Pete Alonso. Please stop with that bullshit. The guy is a one-dimensional player who 2 years from now will not hit 30 home runs a year and will play bad first base and be a 220 hitter that you're going to pay for a few more years a lot of money. So please stop with the bullshit.
There's a lot of players. I see what Joe Cloak just wrote in. And yeah, Joe, you're 100% right. Their health does play into it. But how many of these large contracts actually turn out to be good for both the player and the team?
But yeah,
okay, Alex Rodriguez might have been the only.
He was one of the few that the contract, he actually lived up to the contract. You're right.
Yeah. And I remember, right, they redid it. They restructured it and got him back up to 10 years and like 250 or something like that?
Yeah.
At the time, that was big numbers.
Yeah, no, he got the two contracts. They were 10 years at 250. He did two of them. Yeah, it's fucking crazy, right?
And you want a cat?
Do I want a cat? No, thanks. I'm good, thank you.
My
hey, Joe, here's the problem with the young kids today, and it goes back to they're so coddled. This is a guy who's 24 years old, maybe 23, who's like you guys said, is a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, Anthony Richardson, who should be in the greatest shape he's ever going to be in. And the fact that he can't play an entire football game Jeff, there many times in a game you see the guard or the tackle raise his hand, take himself out of the game. I understand the receivers, the running backs, sometimes the defensive backs. You do a lot of running on a big play. You're gassed. You want to come out, get a play, catch your breath, and get back in. As the quarterback of the football team, you cannot take yourself out of a game ever. Short of being, knocked unconscious, it's just you can't. Short of an injury, you can't do it. It's just a bad look.
Well, you're bringing up offensive linemen.
Yeah,
you're talking about men that are 300 plus pounds, getting their asses kicked every single play.
Correct.
Okay, every single play they're on the field, they are getting hit one way or another. Okay, most of the times, if the quarterback plays and there's 20 rushing plays.
Yep.
That's 20 times where he's probably not even getting touched.
Correct.
He just drops back, hands the ball off, and he gets out of the way.
Correct.
Okay. Then say he drops back another 35 times to throw the ball.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, he's going to get hit. He's going to get knocked down and everything else, but nowhere near on the same level as the guy that's out there running the ball or catching the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he may get hit and knocked down, but that may be a handful of times. He got hit 10 times on 70 offensive plays.
Yep.
There is no reason for him to be out there and saying that he's tired. Like, yeah, I agree, man. Unless he was sick and they just didn't want to say that he was sick, unless he had a muscle pull or he wasn't feeling good. Maybe he got hurt and they just didn't want to say, yeah, he's tired. Take him out. He's tired.
That's just it's to me, Jeff, it's a will. It's about being tough as a human being. When you're playing in league, it starts below that. You know what I mean? It starts in the college, maybe even high school level, where guys aren't pushed. The guys don't practice hard. They don't get forced to man up to play through injuries. Today I wonder, Jeff, how many guys are hurt and how many guys are injured. Think about the times when you were a kid. And listen, we played street ball, we played little organized ball, nothing near where these guys are. And how many times you went home and you weren't feeling well, or you were playing in a game and you were a little nicked up. You never thought of you say you played. Like the thought of not playing was so, almost embarrassing. These guys at that level should be even more reason. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play a kid's game, and you can't suck it up through a little nick here and there or being a little tired. I think it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is, and I understand what you're saying. And unfortunately, nowadays, these guys that are making the big money and they're leading the team, and they're like, well, He don't feel good. It's November, October. We still have a long season ahead of us. Get him in. Just go in the back and lay down, whatever it is. I understand what you're saying. The quarterback should be the leader of the team, and he's not leading if you're going to sit on the side. I understand that. You're right.
Yeah. I think it's most pro sports now. It's obviously college, which is turning into the minor leagues of football. I don't think you call it amateur sports now. And it's, you watch it now and it's just a different feeling now when you watch these games. And one that I got to be honest with you, I don't feel the obligation that I used to watch every game, to watch every play of every game, even for the teams I root for, because I feel like, I'll give you a perfect example. The Giants have a defensive back. His name is Deonte Banks. He was their number 1 pick last year, and as a defensive back, and he's shown some flashes, but he's on at least 2 occasions in 3 games this year dogged it during certain parts of the game, and he hasn't been benched because they don't have a lot of good defensive backs, but he's basically been beaten for the most touchdowns in the league. And you listen to the kid interviewed, and you would think he's the next coming of, what was the guy's name with all the stickum, Jeff? It's driving me crazy.
Oh, Jack Tatum?
No, not Tatum. Tatum was the hitter. Lester Hayes.
Okay.
These guys, and it bothers me when these guys don't give an effort. You're making millions of dollars playing a children's game, and for 60 minutes, and you're playing 60 or 70 plays in the game, that you can't go hard every play. It ain't like it's continuous. Think about it. How much action in a football game is there? If you ran 60 plays, each play is maybe 10 seconds. So what are you actually playing physically? It's worse than baseball. I always put it in baseball, and you spend half the game sitting on the bench. If you think about it, you're actually playing in the game probably less than 8 minutes a game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A matter of fact, I think they had said if you take the average football game, I think there's something like 11 minutes of fucking action if you take out all of the downtime in between plays. And you just look at the plays. Yeah. Or how many times when there's 12 seconds, they'll be like, oh, they got time for plenty of plays. They're on their own 20. They got 1 timeout. They got to go 73 yards to get into field goal range. They could throw 3 passes over the middle and 2 on the sidelines and still have time to get the field goal unit on it. Like, how the fuck they doing this with 12 seconds?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing, to me, the problem is this. It's the salaries. It's the salaries, man.
Yes,
and Joe,
you're right.
You brought up about when training camp and preseason don't matter. Why are you going to risk your quarterback who's getting paid God knows how much in the preseason? I wouldn't play my quarterback either. Okay. And some of these guys, like during training camp, yeah, they should go in there in training camp. But how many times you see this guy wrecked his knee, non-contact injury? This guy wrecked his knee, non-contact injury. This one tore an Achilles. That seems to be the new. Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, they're all over him. I saw that. That's nice. It's a shame, but it's because of the money tied up in these contracts. And Joe, no, I don't watch much college football because I'm not home on Saturdays for the most part. But I've been trying to catch some, like on Saturday night games. And these are guys that are looking to make millions of dollars and get into the league. And there's a lot more competition in college. In the NFL, there's 32 teams with, how many people on each team, where in college, they bounce around just like they do in the NFL. So I want to be a quarterback over here in Auburn. Yeah. So I'm going to go to Auburn. And no, I didn't get the opportunity I want. So I'm going to go to Oklahoma next year. I'm going to the portal next year.
Yep, you're right.
It's unbelievable. Maybe those are the ones that really want to play.
Yeah. No, I agree with Jeff on that. I think even college football, Joe, has been a little, while it's better than the pros, with all the nil money, the transfer portals, guys don't go in and fight for a job. I'll give Arch Manning big credit. Here's a kid who went to Texas, could have started anywhere in the country last year, just based on his name, went there and sat, and then came back this year to sit behind Quinn Ewers, who, hasn't played great. Arch Manning could have left last year in the transfer portal, got a huge nil agreement with somebody else. He said, I went to college to play at Texas, and he stuck it out. And he'll make his money down the line. But most kids, there are guys transferring to 3 or 4 different schools. Jeff, it's worse than the pro free agency. It's worse.
At times, yeah.
Yeah. Because there's no salary cap. So it ain't like you go get your big bonus over here and you're stuck there to get that bonus. You got to pay it back. These guys can go get $1 million for this year and then go someplace else. And here's the biggest part of it, guys, for me, is when the college kids go in and say, well, I don't really want to fight for my job. I want to be given it. And if I'm not given it, I'm going to go someplace else. That bothers me. Go out there and work your ass off. Play hard. Beat the guy out. I think you should be allowed to move one time and one time only. And then that's it. If you move after that, you have to sit out a year like the old rules used to be. The old rule used to be
talking about a different day and age.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
I understand everything that you're saying. You're talking about a completely different day and age where I want to play here. Well, we already have that. Doesn't matter. See you later.
Yep.
And then they turn around and be like, whoa. Listen, this guy, he has all of the highest ceiling that we've seen in the last 25 years. We already know what we have in this guy. This guy could be fucking the next Tom Brady. We got to take him.
Yeah, no, agreed.
It sucks, but it's not talent that dictates a lot of stuff on these levels of sports.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's the shame of it all. It really is the shame of it all. I don't know how you I guess at the end of the day, I don't know how to I don't know how to get past it. I don't think I ever will. I do think Arch Manning is going to be first. Joe, it's hard to say. I would say right now, yes, 2 years from now, he will be presented as the number 1 pick in the draft. You haven't seen him play enough, but just based on his name, if he goes out there and plays just as well as he's played in the 3 or 4 games he's played this year, I would tell you he'll be the number 1 pick in the draft 2 years from now. No doubt in my mind. No doubt. The bloodline, he's played well. He went to a big school.
Alone is going to get him benefit.
Yeah. And I have to tell you something. Let me tell you something. If he actually goes to the pros and comes out of there and has a good career, boy, you got to tell you one thing. The Manning family, from grandfather, two sons, and then a grandson, I got to tell you, that's a pretty good legacy if you're
Whose son is Arch Manning's? Peyton's?
No, Cooper.
Oh, okay.
Cooper, the one brother who didn't make it to the pros.
Yeah, I remember him when he was a quarterback in college or something.
Yeah, I think Peyton and Eli's kids are still young. I think they're not even high school age, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, listen, I spend too much time, and I want to finish up with some music stuff, but I spend too much time talking about the old days, and I don't want to turn it to the keep off my lawn old guy. But it's tough to watch. The one thing I can deal with guys who aren't talented. I can deal with guys who don't play for the best teams. What I can't deal with are guys who don't give maximum effort. If you're watching a guy play and you spent your money on his team's jerseys, you spent your money on tickets, on NFL packages, you're even just spending your time, and the guys out there and they're dogging it and they're not playing hard, that's something, Jeff, I can never forgive and get past. That's something I can't do.
No, I don't blame you, Tom, because there's always going to be somebody better.
Yeah.
Or somebody that could play just as good as you.
Yep.
All right. There's very few of the best out there playing at any given time. There's always somebody else that's good, almost as good, very good. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But if you're the best, your shelf life is limited. So, especially in college football, how many of these guys? When could you leave college after 2 years?
It depends on the sport, but I'm pretty sure football is you got to play. I think you got to at least play 2 years. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so you're already getting out in 2 years, and 2 seasons in the college, no big deal.
Yeah,
especially if you get on a good team. If you're on a big name college, forget it.
Yeah. No, I agree. But guys, we ain't got much more time. I want to get into one more thing at least before we wrap it up. And one thing tonight's Jeff, it's me. It's cleaning of the soul tonight. That's what I think this is. And I'm completely done with the heavy metal hard rock world. I've been trying to follow along with some of the bands and new music and new things they're doing and new versions of bands. And I said, you know what? Jeff's officially right. The metal scene is over. I know that there's still a few bands out there doing their thing, and we talked about going to see Maiden next year, and I hope we do that. But at the end of the day, I realize that I'll never, ever hear another great metal song or album that wasn't written 40 years ago.
Oh, sadly, yeah, you're right.
I mean, I just don't get, I can't do it anymore. I can't follow along to this week's version of Deep Purple or this month's version of Trickster or whoever band comes to mind. I think Crew's got a new guitar player again. If I'm not mistaken,
I haven't heard about.
I almost think Crew's got a new guitar player. I think Crew and Def Leppard are going out again to play another round of the same songs. I go, just at some point, I go, I've had enough. I love the bands. They're turning into the Temptations, where they play the same songs from 50 years ago with 17 new members of the band. I just woke up and said, I've had enough. I want to see Iron Maiden again. I may go see Maiden 10 times before they're done. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I know, I realize that I will never hear another Number of the Beast, another Paranoid, another, Shout at the Devil. I'll never hear that song that makes me go, I love metal anymore, unless I crank up an album from 40 years ago.
Oh yeah, it's bad, man.
But why? Bad. Why, Jeff? Why can't these bands find? Is it, they stopped eating bologna sandwiches, on a mattress, and they don't write angry anymore? You can't write a great metal song in your 62-room mansion with two Lamborghinis outside.
First of all, I don't think a lot of these guys are into the metal scene. A lot of the guys that actually play metal, I don't think that they're into that. I think they play it because it was a moneymaker for them at one point in time. And when you had bands like Motley Crue and some of these other hair metal bands, it was a different story. That, these were bands that people were actually interested in seeing and stuff. You look at the PNC Arts Center website. I don't know about now if they announced any shows for next year, but
yeah,
some of these shows, when you're like, really, people are actually going to go and watch this? They're not good shows. I can't remember the last time I saw a show that I'm like, I got to get there. I got to see it. Well, the last one I went to was in the St. George Theater to get the letter, which was a great band. And I've been getting more into classic rock than anything else.
Yeah, I was cruising around the Blabbermouth website before the show, and I'm listening to some stuff and I'm watching some stuff, and I'm going, it's done. It's really over. I can't ever imagine that I will pick up an album from a band from 40 years ago that, I'm talking about the Maidens, the Metallicas, and hear a song or an album and go, this is great. I did a couple of years ago. There was a couple of good, and I'm not saying great. I'm saying there was a couple of good Queensryche albums with Todd La Torre. Was actually not bad. I know you're not a Trickster fan, but the last Trickster album was a fun album to listen to. Accept had a few good albums, but I realize now that I'm never going to hear a great album or even a great song from any of those bands ever again. And I have to realize that being 57 years old, the metal that I knew, I'll have to just deal with from memory.
Yeah, I hear you. I can't remember the last new band that I got into. New band. I can't. I don't know. When was the last new band that you like? Wow.
Those grunge bands that you found, right? All those Soundgardens and all those bands are probably the last ones, right?
Well, those guys, I mean, they're not putting
That's
nothing out.
30 years ago. And that's 30 years ago.
Yeah, Soundgarden's done. Alice in Chains, they last put out an album like there might have been 2016
Yeah.
or 2018, and they haven't put anything out in God knows how long.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's even anything coming down the pike from them. Like Jerry Cantrell is on a tour, you know.
Yeah. No, listen, I get it. And I argued it. I argued with you for years on this show, about the old bands putting out new stuff. And I just realized that it's time to purge. Like, I'll always love Maiden. I'll always love Priest and some of those bands. And I'll always listen to those albums as much as I can and, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I'd actually rather listen to some new country music that's coming out. I'd rather listen to that. It's fresher. It's got a nice edge to it. It's got a great melody to it, and I'd rather listen to Chris Cagle and and some Eric Church and some of those guys than I do want to hear anything new. I don't ever want to hear a new Maiden song. I don't. Yeah. I don't ever want to hear a new Maiden album ever again. They'd have to swear that it had to be tell me it's 10 3.5-minute songs. I'll give it a shot, but I can't listen to any new Maiden. I'd rather listen to Cyndi Lauper.
Wow. No, I listen. Your musical taste changed too. Metal was something that we grew up with. It really, really hit its stride. Yeah, there was metal bands before we got into high school, but that's when it really took off and stuff. And there's always going to be a heavy band someplace.
Yeah.
When you got Metallica came out and, Ozzy was doing his own stuff. And then, Sabbath came out again, another reincarnation of Sabbath. A lot of these bands were coming out and backing one another up. And then now there's nothing coming out. Where's the club? We used to be able to go to L'Amour's. Used to be able to go to Birch Hill Club or whatever, Cherry Hill, whatever the fuck the name of the place was.
Yeah.
All the places on Route 9 in Jersey, they don't have anything.
No.
And then to go out to a concert, tickets are God knows how, $200+.
Yeah. No.
To go watch some old man that you're hoping is actually playing and singing.
Yeah. Look like what Joe said. He went to see Def Leppard and, Joe really couldn't the notes put there, but I guarantee you, when you buy your ticket, even if you buy one ticket, even if the ticket's $1.50, by the time you put all the fees and taxes on it, you're paying $275, $280, and that's in the nosebleeds.
That's
you ain't
insane.
sitting downstairs. Yeah,
you got 4 people right here: me, you, Joe, and Frank. That all I've seen. Joe, I was the only one that I'm not going to say I don't know what he likes. I seen him comment on music all the time. I didn't know that he was into the same music like we are. He knows his stuff. Frankie, we know what Frank is into and everything else. And I guarantee you that neither one of the 4 of us could pick out one new band and say that this is what we're listening to.
No, I know I couldn't.
Sebastian Bach, I'm guessing you mean?
Yeah, I'm guessing so. Yeah, again, but Frank, I'm not saying that you can't go to a show and see, Iron Maiden play a good set. I'm not saying you can't go and see Queensryche play a really good set. I'm not saying that. My point is, you're not going to go see, any of these bands and hear great new music. Again, I'll go see Maiden next year for sure. That's not the point.
You want to hear them play old stuff.
But I don't want to hear Senjutsu. I want to hear Number of the Beast. I want to hear stuff off of Killers. My point is not that you can't go find a decent concert still. You might be able to. Again, Maiden, I saw a couple of years ago, and he did a great job. I'm not saying that you can't see great music live. I'm saying you're never going to hear great new music from these bands ever again because it's not possible anymore.
No, there's, and Frank, listen, you're in the same age bracket. Back in the 80s, early to mid 80s, we all used to go, and I'm sure you did, to the Music Center in Newdorf. And every Tuesday, new albums came out. And we used to go get stuff, but it would be Maiden, Priest, or some other band that you never really heard of before, and somebody catch on to it. When was the last time that you heard a new band? Yeah. And Maiden and Priest, these are guys that have been writing for 50 years.
Yeah, they just ran out of ideas, I think. I think it's just ran out of ideas.
all right, they already wrote music for 50 years.
Yeah.
So they lost their edge. Did you think it was going to last forever?
Yes, I did. I do. Honestly, Jeff, I thought that I was going to hear music from Maiden that sounded like the great stuff forever. And again, there was a couple bands who did it later, like Accept. Those 3 albums that Accept did were great albums, even some as good as some of the earlier stuff. And then that died off. Other than that, I mean, again, I'm sure we'll go see Maiden and they'll do a classic set and we'll leave there going, shit, they still can play it. No doubt.
Well, listen, I'm not saying that they can't play.
Yeah.
I'm sure Maiden can play.
Yeah.
But let's do this right now.
Yeah.
Would you say that Number of the Beast, don't include the first 2 albums, with Bruce Dickinson,
Yeah.
would you say that Number of the Beast is probably their best album?
For me, I would say the answer is yes.
Okay. So now, when you're talking about Number of the Beast being their best album, what is the next album that you would put in order for them, whatever it may be, and say, well, after Number of the Beast comes this, and then compare that album, Number of the Beast. Is it nearly as good as Number of the Beast was?
No, it'd be Somewhere in Time. It's one of those next, one of those next albums. Even listen, even Power Slave, which I still think was a classic Maiden album, is nowhere near as good as Number of the Beast.
No, of course not, because you look, Children of the Damned, Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills.
Oh yeah,
Hallowed Be Thy Name. Okay, those 4 songs alone.
Oh
you
yeah,
compare them to the best songs on Peace of Mind, The Trooper.
Yeah.
Where Eagles Dare, Flight of Icarus. Flight of Icarus is weak.
Yeah.
I don't like the song. I mean, it's all right, but it's not one of my
That's a good
Name
album.
of Land.
Yeah, that's a real Peace of Mind's a good album, but it's not a classic in that sense. Listen, Trooper, Hallowed Be, some of those not Hallowed Be Thy Name. Trooper, there's another great one on that album. A couple of good songs on that on top of my head, but
Where Eagles Dare.
Yeah, all of them. Like, I know Maiden's playing in New Jersey tomorrow. The problem for me was the set list sucked. I don't want to hear Alexander the Great. I'm not going to see Maiden hear Alexander the Great. I just don't want to hear it. They're playing a bunch of songs that they never played in concert before, and I said that's exactly what I don't want to hear. I want to hear the hits. I want to go and hear Number of the Beast and Iron Maiden and Sanctuary and Hallowed Be Thy Name. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, sadly, they're not going to. You'll get some of that, but they want to play other things too.
Yes, Frankie, next year's the one. Jeff and I have already said we're going to try to go to that one together. That is the classic set. And you know what? If that's the last one I get to go to, 22 Acacia, if that's the last one I get to go to, I'll be happy. If I could go see a classic Maiden set and walk out the door and say, I heard the greats and the classics, I'm in.
If you could go see a Maiden show tomorrow, okay, and you could pick one song that they'll play that you're guaranteed to hear, what would it be?
Phantom of the Opera.
Really?
Love that song.
I love the song, but I don't want to hear Bruce Dickinson sing Paul Di'Anno.
I get you, but that is such a great song, and I've heard Bruce do it, and he does an amazing job. But I agree with you. I understand it. But Phantom of the Opera is one of those. It's one of those Maiden songs where you just listen to it, and it's like one of the most well-crafted songs of all time. And Joe, Jeff Tate was amazing. I heard Jeff Tate in Red Bank. He did a great job playing the hits, but it's Jeff Tate singing. He was a little shy of what Jeff Tate was. Would I go again? No, I got free tickets. It's the only reason why I went this time. That's the only reason why I went.
Joe Cloak, go on YouTube and look up Queensryche and L'Amour's East from back in the 80s.
Oh.
Me and Joe Gansas went to that show. It was 2 weekends in a row. They played with a band called Malice, who was a good band too, by the way, at the time. I don't know if they're even around anymore. Probably not. But they opened up the show of Queensryche with the song New Regile. And I was like less than 10 feet away from Jeff Tate. And they were unfucking believable. Makeup and all, their hair teased with like 10 fucking bottles of hairspray. You were there, Frank, at that one? I remember going, we went with Jeff Spezzano, I went one night. And Joe Gansas another night we went. It was great. and I couldn't hear nothing. And Jeff Spezzano's car broke down in my yard, and he's ringing my bell at like 3 a.m. My father comes out like, "Who's ringing the bell?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You hear a bell? I don't hear nothing." And it's like, well, downstairs, and there's Jeff Spezzano, freezing cold, him and his girlfriend. My car won't start. I'm like, I don't know. What do you want me to do? I don't know what to tell you.
Let me push your car out of my driveway.
Yeah. Call a fucking cab, man. I want to go to bed.
Yeah, just stop ringing the bell. I got to get some sleep.
Yeah, you woke my father up. He's in there in his underwear. I don't need to see that. Go home.
Yeah, I don't know. I just got to the point where I'm the old man on the lawn telling you to get off, and my football teams and my music are all fading again, and it is what it is. But listen, it's been a great week. The country has spoken. My man Don Trump is back in office in January, and I got a great hope for the future. I hope that we'll have peace around the world, and we'll have good prosperity here in the States. But I have to realize that my Giants suck. The Yankees aren't going to sign Juan Soto, and I will never hear another great heavy metal song written again, ever. And that's just life. That's just life. But in the meantime, I'll hope to be able to hear my friends' bands play and jam with my buddies when I can, and do this show every Thursday night.
I'm looking forward to the holiday jam, man. I really am. I can't wait for that. I'm going to start going over the songs.
I've been working on it for a month now. Since the day I sent the stuff out, I've been working on some new tunes. I'm looking forward to getting together with everybody and have some fun. I'm trying to think of some special things to do for this year. Last year we had the photographer, we had shirts, and Jeff got Pete Begley to show up. Let's see if we could do something different this year.
I spoke to Pete Begley.
Oh yeah.
I messaged him. And I told him about it and said, of course you're more than welcome to come. And last year, if you remember, there was, of course, this year we asked the guys, "You want to play?" And they're like, "Well, I don't know. I got to ask my wife." Last year we had about 50,000 people like, "I didn't get invited. I want to do this. I want to come. I want to be there." I don't know. All I know is just I'm hoping that I just don't have to climb them fucking stairs.
Well, let's hope Panino can. I think being it the day before New Year's Eve, I bet you the band that has the thing will not practice, and we'll be able to get the studio.
Day before New Year's Eve that we're doing this?
Yeah, December 30th, yeah.
Really? Oh, shit.
Yes, it's the Monday before New Year's Eve. If you guys are in Rosebank, by any chance you want to come and hang out, a lot of the boys will be there, and we do this every year, 3 hours. We play some music, tell the same old stories, and have a bunch of laughs. Last year was the best one of all, I would say.
And yes, Joe Cloak, Queensryche in Lemore's East. Lemore's East. It was in Queens.
I was going to say, where was Lemore's East?
In Queens, I think Woodside, Queens.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to find it now, even if it was the only building left in Queens. I wouldn't be able to find it. But I know that I came across it one time purely by accident. I was working for Union Gas at the time.
Oh, wow.
And then all of a sudden I was like, what the fuck is this? Lemore's East. I'm like, this is where it is. Holy shit. So then I ended up quitting the gas company. And then somebody told me Queensryche was playing there. And they're like, I wish we could go, man. I'm like, I know where it is. I said, get the tickets. I know where it is. And they're like, holy shit. So like we went off to watch them play, and it was great.
Wow. To be honest with you, I think I was in Lemore's once. I was never in Lemore's East. I was never a big go to concert guy. I saw my share of concerts back in the day, not a ton, but enough. But I was never a big concert guy. I loved my studio albums, and that was it. But I do regret, as I got older, not having gone to more shows back in the day. But now I regret the fact that I'll never hear great music again. But it is what it is, guys. It is what it is.
Hey, listen, it's a shame, and it does suck, but it is what it is. Think of some of the bands that just are not around anymore that you'll never see.
Yeah.
That's the sad part,
What's a band that you never got to see that you wish you would have saw?
Soundgarden.
Okay.
Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, original Alice in Chains.
I wish I would saw Rush. Rush would be the band for me.
I saw Rush.
I wish I never saw Van Halen because it ruined it for me. Because they suck.
You just happened to go at the wrong time, man.
I guess.
Yeah, Frank, Queen is an enigma, bro.
Yeah, that's a good one, Frankie. That's another good one. Yeah, Rush, Queen, but it had to be Queen with Freddie Mercury, obviously. But Rush, I would love to have seen Rush. Those '80s years when they before they got too synthesizer-y, keyboardy. But
you know what? I'm happy that I never went to go see Queen, because by the time I got into music, Queen was doing things that I probably would not want to see live at the time.
Probably, yeah.
And I was probably into much heavier music. So Queen, never getting to see Queen live is okay with me, because it made me appreciate them more and want to hear more stuff. To me, I don't know what your favorite Queen album is. Mine is Queen 2. It's just an incredible album.
I don't think I have a favorite album. I love so much Queen. The problem is I don't think there's a classic Queen album where you go, that album is great front to back. You know, kind of like Blizzard of Oz or Number of the Beast or Killers or British Steel. Like there were some albums that you can put on one end all the way to the other end.
I got 76 songs on my Queen.
Yeah, but I don't think you can look at one Queen album. I mean, for me at least, I don't know about you, where you'd say the entire album front to back is great.
Oh, yeah, Day at the Races and
okay,
Night at the Opera or whatever. These are just great albums, man. The great Queen, to me, like I said, Queen 2 decided with Ogre Battle is just, Ogre Battle is like my favorite Queen song. It's just unfucking believable, man. Wow.
Yeah. I am glad that we got to see. I never got to see Saxon live back in the day. We saw them a few years ago. And the one band that I was really happy I got to see, and again, the same night, was UFO. I thought UFO was great.
And then Mary. Hello, Mary.
Hey, Mary. Yeah, Mary, you know what? That's another good one. Ronnie James Dio. That's the one guy on the show. We've gotten to interview so many great people here, you know, from Jeff Tate and Geezer Butler, Blaze Bailey, KK Downing. You know, we've been so lucky that so many people, Jeff Tate, Ronnie James Dio, to me, would have been the ultimate, because he was such a big sports fan on top of being Ronnie James Dio. I would have loved to have seen Dio live, but that's one guy I would have loved to have interviewed.
So I would have loved to have seen Rainbow with Dio. The album,
Mary.
Long Live Rock and Roll. Just an unbelievable album, man.
Yeah, you know, again, Rainbow for me, I've never been a big Richie Blackmore fan. I think he's a big douchebag. But yeah, I think seeing that would have been the ultimate. But I would have loved to have seen Dio live. Play that, you know, his songs, while borderline to getting on the progressive side, to me, I love so many of his things. I am very sad I never got to see Dio live. That's another good one.
Frank Catalano, did you know that Ronnie James Dio hated the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, it's a known fact. He was very happy that the Giants beat them in the Super Bowl. Spanked ass.
Like 3 times.
Yes, he spanked that ass. Dio was a big Giant fan, Ronnie, Frankie, just for the record.
Did you know that Ronnie James Dio used to sing doo-wop?
Yes, with Elf.
Played bass in a doo-wop band, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, you don't realize how old Ronnie James Dio was when he was doing his thing.
What's this?
You don't realize how old he was when he was doing his thing back in the day.
It's because he looked like he came from Lord of the Rings. He's like one of those characters from up in the fucking mountains.
That's very true.
Like 4,000 years old.
Yeah, it's very true.
I got to see you. I saw Dio live once, but not with Dio.
Oh,
with
really?
El Sabbath.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
And it was at Radio City Music Hall, and I was pissed because Joey got the tickets, and he was like, "You want to go see Black Sabbath?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to go see Black Sabbath." And he gives me the ticket, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, "Joe, what the fuck is this? What is Heaven and Hell?" And he's like, "Oh, you know that's Sabbath now. They can't play under Sabbath name." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. I'm like, are they playing with Dio?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh, come on." I said, "I want to see, real Sabbath. I don't want to see this." And they were great, man. They have the live album from Radio City Music Hall, man. It was fucking unbelievable. Great album.
Yeah, the other thing I regret is you had a chance and he died right before he went was I never got to see Randy Rhoads live. I would love to have seen Randy Rhoads play live. He died just before you went, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I would love to have seen Randy Rhoads play live.
Just like I had a ticket to go see Van Halen. He broke his hand.
Broke his arm, yeah.
And then when they rescheduled, everybody was supposed to go with Doug was sick.
I remember that as a kid because I remember saying, all right, don't buy tickets to a show with Jeff if you really want to go, because he seems to be the ultimate what do they call that? Jinx. Because every time Randy Rhoads dies, Eddie Van Halen breaks his hand, concerts get canceled left and right. Don't go to a concert with Jeff.
If you saw Blizzard of Oz, man, he had to be in there, Frank.
Well, he might have seen it. He might have seen it right after when it was Gillis or what's his name.
It's possible, but if they were playing under the name Blizzard of Oz, it had to be more than likely definitely the first album, and probably
I saw Ozzy solo, but it was with Zach and Trujillo. I don't know who the drummer was at the time. I'm not sure who the drummer was. I don't know if it was Ulrich.
Was it the guy from Faith No More with the long dreads?
I'm not sure. It might have been. It was in 1999. That's how back there was the K-Rock Dysfunctional Family Picnic, and Ozzy was in there, and I thought he was the headliner. Actually, Creed closed the show.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And Frank, if you saw Brad Gillis, then that was very shortly after Randy Rhoads died.
Yeah, he didn't last long. Did he? He didn't play the studio album, right? He only played
Speak of the Devil or whatever it's called.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh.
Wow. Good times. Wow. But unfortunately, that's the point of the show tonight. Is I'm the angry old man who's basically saying my youth is over. I'll never see another great metal song. I'll have to just keep my vinyl alive and do it. So Brad Gillis was a good guitar player who relied too much on the whammy bar. Too much whammy bar for my taste. What was his regular band? Was
Night Ranger.
Night Ranger, yes. Good band. Not a bad band. I the other guitar player in that band was incredible.
This guy doesn't even know who the fuck he's seen Brad Gillis with.
Yeah, the other guy in that band, the other guitar player, and I interviewed him, and he said that he was the guy who invented the 8-finger tapping.
Who?
I can't think of the other guitar player in Night Ranger. Very good guitar player.
Jeff Watson.
Yes, I interviewed him. The guy was fucking completely bots in the head.
Listen,
I actually unfriended him because he was a maniac liberal.
You might have invented it, but Eddie Van Halen took it to another level.
That's my point. You didn't invent it if nobody heard you do it.
Yeah.
I heard Eddie Van Halen do it. I didn't hear you do it. So you might have invented it, but if I play something like
big tall fucking guy, if I remember right.
Maybe. He was a crazy liberal, and I actually unfriended him because he was fucking too out there for me.
Jesus Christ.
Good interview, though. Good interview. Very early days of the Hard Rocket Sports Show. Anyway, guys, I got to wrap it up for tonight. We'll be back next Thursday night. We'll do it all over again. But I did have a lot of fun tonight, even though I did not prepare one. This is the first show we've ever done in 10 years that I didn't spend 30 seconds doing any sort of work to get ready for the show. So this is strictly Jeff and me bullshitting. And I think, Jakey Lee was great, Joe. A very underrated guitar player who became a maniac also. But Badlands, great stuff, right? And Bark at the Moon album, the sound, his tone, just one of the great guitar players for a short amount of time. Not saying he's not a great guitar player, just didn't put out enough stuff. Would you agree, Jeff?
Yeah.
Definitely had the makings of a guy who could have kind of rewrote the book, because his sound and his style were great. Fun guitar player. Just disappeared for too long.
He got shot, and then there was some discrepancies or something about what actually happened.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I didn't read up on it, to be honest with you, but they kind of made it seem like he wasn't as innocent as.
Yeah.
Was
the other guy who falls into that category is the guy from White Lion who just disappeared off the face of the earth. Staten Island guy.
Vito Bratta.
Yeah, that's a guy. A little too much effects on his pedals, but a great guitar player who had the chance to be, thought of as a legend and just decided to stop playing and take care of his parents for whatever reason. But Jakey Lee is one of the most underrated guitar players there ever was. He was a great player. And I would love to have seen Ozzy keep him there. And while I came to like Zach, I know you're not a big Zach Wild guy. I like Zach in there, but I think Jake would have took it to a different level. Maybe kept it more in the Randy world.
You got a plane near you, man?
Yeah, actually, there's a plane flying overhead here. You hearing that, huh?
Is it coming down?
I hope not, because we're nowhere near the airport. So not. I'm about 30 minutes from the airport.
Good place to be.
If he's landing short, we got a problem. So
yeah, I hear that.
You've never seen or heard Stryper. Come on, Joe. You had to. Stryper's actually a really good band. Great players. Their last album that I listened to, I'm trying to think of the name of it, was really, really good. I'm talking about maybe about 6-7 years ago. They came out with a couple albums. And what's his name? The lead singer, guitar player. Sweet, right?
I forget where it's.
Michael Sweet?
Yeah, something like that.
He put out a couple solo things that were really good, but it's been a while. But if you get a chance, look up their last couple albums. Their catalog is really heavy. They just got screwed because of the whole being involved with the church thing and all that. But come on, man, it didn't suck. They were good. They had good stuff. I like Stryper. I didn't like Stryper back in the day. I like them now more than I liked them back in the day.
I'm not a big Stryper fan, man. I fell for their shit when I was a kid, and then I bought a tape of theirs, and I put it on in the car, and then all of a sudden I hear all of this praising God bullshit, and I'm like, this is not good, man. This is not good.
I never liked Venom, although Jeff's band, our band back in the day, we did a Venom song back in the day, right?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Venom.
Yes, Venom was the big joke in our cloud.
But here's the thing, though, with Venom.
Yeah.
Venom worshipped a more realistic character in Satan than Stryper did in God. So
I'm not getting into the whole Jew.
Well, I'm getting into it, and I'm telling you.
Bob Peck might be listening. We'd have to face him.
Don't worry about it. After hanging out with Bob the last time, I never knew a priest would slip so much, but it was cool.
I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, guys,
I was waiting for Bob to say, cancel the studio. Let's get some Coke and hookers and have a party.
I'm sure he won't be doing that. In the meantime, guys, thanks for tuning in. Mary, welcome to the show. Thank you for being part of it. Frankie and Joey are here all the time. Nice to have you with us. We're back next Thursday night. We'll do a lot more of this and more. And we're here regularly every Thursday night, 7 to 9. We look forward to being back here next Thursday, doing it all over again. In the meantime, please, guys, have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your night, the rest of your week, the rest of your weekend, and a great next week. And Jeff and I will be back next Thursday night. We'll do this all over again. So for Jeff Tomwinski and myself and everybody here at Hard Rocket Sports, have a great night, and we'll see you next Thursday. Have faith. Thanks, my man. Hey, by the way, we got to try that PlayStation thing. So
yeah.
Next time you're going to jump on, let me know.
I've been talking to people about it, and they tell me that you have to have the subscription in order to play live. You said that we didn't, that
No,
something.
if you go on, there's a thing that says find friends. So next time you're going to be on, let me know. I'll jump on and see if we can find each other, and then we can see how we can.
I can tell you right now, I'll be on in about an hour and a half. I'll send you my name.
Thanks, Frankie. Appreciate it, Mary. Have a great night. So yeah, do me a favor. Text me your name. Let me know when you're on, and I'll try to jump on myself.
Yeah, I'll send you a text. You're going to be up later?
I should be. I've been cruising till 2 a.m. every night. So hopefully, yes.
Boy. For what?
Just hanging out, just relaxing, watching a little TV, playing a little guitar, and just enjoying a little vacay.
Okay, I just sent you my username.
Okay.
I when I made the name, I just made something real quick. Just that way I remember what it was.
Gotcha.
And well, it's kind of gay. Or else I definitely would have come up with a better name than that. But I'm happy with it.
All right, we'll see. I'll just shoot me a text when you jump it on. I'll see what I can do to get on.
Okay. That
You got
name
it.
was, for a friend.
Huh?
That name was picked for a friend.
Okay.
No, not that friend, Joe.
I gotta feel that's Joe's name on a few chats.
What's that?
I think that's Joe's. I think that's the name Joe used on a few different chats.
Joe's universal
Facebook.
name.
Yeah. Dirty dick. All right, guys. I'll see you everybody next week. Definitely talk to you after the air.
I'll see you later, man.
See you later. Good night.
It's got to end it right there on Dirty Dick. That's great.
That's where the show ends, Jeff, right there.
Fucking Joe Cole.
See you
We
guys
got to get
later.
him on one night, man. That'd be some funny shit.
Anytime. See you
Oh,
later.
watch that one, man. Watch that name.
Easy.
Yeah.
That's a tough name after Dirty Dick.
Oh, well, he may have a dirty one.
Well, he might have seen a couple. I'm
In the
close.
lifestyle that he leads from what
He
we
might have seen
understand.
a few of those up close, Jeff.
Oh, my goodness. No, don't say that.
I'll see you
Bukaki John.
later. See you later. All right, guys. Good night.
I'll see you later, man.
All right, good night.
All right, later.